Hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I had an idea for a reading vlog, and I don't know how any of this is going to work because it's kind of going to be a long-term one on my end. And so I don't actually know which books I'm going to read, but I will show you some books that I have on my radar. One of them is Anne Millar, Greatest Ranger of All Time. It's a middle grade novel, super short, and it has pictures. It looks adorable. I kind of can't wait. It's brand new, so I need to do it soon. Camp Frenemies is a graphic novel, middle grade. Don't know anything about it. And Camp Monster, I've shown you this before, I think in a book haul, a library book haul video. I really want to read this. It has good reviews, so I really want to get to that. So I don't know if you see the theme yet. I am currently reading Camp Spirit. It's a young adult graphic novel. I don't physically own it. It's actually on my phone, which is where you guys are. I will put a picture up here. I think it's a sapphic romance. I'm not entirely sure. If it is, I haven't experienced any of that yet. I'm about 50% of the way through. And then I have another young adult planned, and I think I have even an adult book planned. We'll see. We'll see how it all goes. Camp Spirit, like I said, I think it's a sapphic romance. It's Elodie. When the kids first meet her, they call her Melody, but it's Elodie. And she is, it takes place in 1994, the summer of 1994, and she's definitely grunge. She's very into Nirvana, and of course it is following the death of Kurt Cobain. And she is being forced by her mother to become a camp counselor. It's a local camp that apparently a bunch of the kids from her high school become counselors. So she knows who all the counselors are because they are her classmates. And she needs the money so that she can go to college. And she just can't stand any of the other kids. And so she goes. She's missed the orientation. She knows nothing about nature or sports or how to monitor these kids. When the kids arrive that are going to be hers, they're all redheads, which I think is a funny little twist. She is not your typical counselor, but she seems to be handling it okay. It's cute. I do really like it. The personalities are coming across very clearly in the book, and I really like that. So I'm curious as to how it's going to be. Like I said, I'm almost exactly 50% of the way through, and it doesn't seem like a sapphic romance. It seems very much like a friendship, a really good friendship. So let's see how this goes. So if you haven't guessed the theme of this, it's summer camp, and I kind of can't wait. I'm actually really excited about it. Like I said, I've heard really good things about this. This looks adorable. This isn't quite summer camp, but it's similar. Summer camp in July. Sure. Hello. So I honestly finished Camp Spirit, I don't even know when, more than a week ago. I honestly think that I filmed this part, but I can't find it if I have it anywhere. So I'm going to recap what I thought of Camp Spirit, which is a young adult graphic novel about summer camp. I'll start from the beginning. Elodie is 17. She's about to go off to college, and she needs to earn some money. This takes place in 1994, 95. I didn't write that down. I know I said what it was before, so I've already told you what year that was. Elodie is grunge and is not a camp counselor type of person. She doesn't like nature, she doesn't like sports, and she doesn't really care about kids. She ends up getting this really, I just loved them, rambunctious, foul-mouthed group of redheads. They're all redheads, which I think is just hilarious. Well, it's a funny little twist. And so she's at this camp. There's a little bit of mysticism. There's like a myth surrounding the camp, and it kind of eats at her a little bit. It gets into her dreams. She thinks she's seeing things. She kind of really believes this myth. And so there's a little bit of creepiness in the book. There are, a couple trigger warnings. There is some homophobia, and there is an animal death in there, and it's a little gruesome, the animal death. The romance part, I felt the friendship and not the romance part. I wish there had been a little bit of like longing, some glancing at each other, looking at each other, touching, the reaching out and touch kind of thing, a little bit more. It just felt all of a sudden. And it also felt like it didn't know whether it wanted to be a creepy story or not be a creepy story. So the creep part of it was very minor, but was good. It was well done. But it was a quirky little book. It's very short, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. So I finished that, like I said, honestly, more than a week ago. In the meantime, I started 2 other books. The one that I am most involved with right now, this is an unusual entry into the summer camp field, but it's God of the Woods, which actually takes place at a summer camp for kids, but is very much an adult novel. It's by Liz Moore. I started listening to it. Now, if you're going to listen to it without having the book, which is what I was doing, I highly recommend that you have the book or you pay a lot of attention. It starts off with, I want to show you. So chapter 1 is Barbara, but the first page is Louise. And so when you're listening to the book, it says part 1, Barbara, chapter 1, Louise, so you have to pay attention. And it's just a few pages of Louise, and then it goes into Tracy. So if you're not paying like strict attention to who's narrating, you're going to get a little confused. There are a lot of characters, and there's a lot of time jumping. So the premise of what this is, in case you haven't heard, I know it's been going around in BookTube. It's a summer camp. A girl has gone missing, and she's the daughter of the owners of the camp. And that in the past, their son had gone missing. And so it starts in 1975. I automatically thought of that as the past when the son went missing, but it's not. The 1975 is the current day. Sometimes it's June of 75, sometimes it's August of 75, sometimes it's in the 50s, sometimes it's in the 60s. It really is just all over the place. We start with Louise. She is the camp counselor in charge of the cabin that Barbara is going to be in. Barbara is the daughter of the owners of the campground, and she has a counselor in training, and she's a 17-year-old girl. Louise has been doing it for a few years and is, I want to say she's like 22, 23, something like that, which is why she's training somebody else. The campground is kind of around the lake. The family that owns the land is the Van Laar family, and they're rich banking type family. They're very, very wealthy. And so their daughter suddenly wants to go to camp, and she's punk and shows up at camp with spikes and heavy eyeliner. And so there's also Tracy. Tracy is a girl who, I love the line, she says something about her father fought for her in custody and then is sending her off to camp. She doesn't want to go to camp, and she's actually getting paid. Her father is paying her. I think this is the right book. Her father is paying her to go to camp. She's a shy, bookish girl and really just doesn't know what to do. And then suddenly Barbara shows up. It's the first time Barbara's gone to camp, and all these other kids already know each other because they go to camp, the same camp. It's a prestigious camp, and they go every year. And so they've known each other forever. Plus their families all seem to be like interconnected somehow, except for Tracy. But anyway, Barbara and Tracy become friends, and they hang out. We're also learning about Barbara's parents. There's also a whole timeline of like when they meet, her parents meet, and how they got together. I don't have a bookmark in here, so I don't really know. I would say I am probably about 50%, maybe pushing 60. I'm not sure. Barbara is missing, and the police have come in, and they're asking questions, but I'm not going to say anything more than that. It is oddly interesting without really anything happening. I'm not overly invested in anybody. No characters are like, oh, I love this character kind of a thing. It's hovering for me slightly under 4 stars. I would say like a 3.8, 3.9, that kind of thing. But I'm going to heavily listen to this tonight and probably finish it tomorrow morning, and I will check in with you then about what I think about it. But I am enjoying it. It is definitely something that you need to pay attention to. Once I started it a few days ago, and I realized that I wasn't paying enough attention. I was constantly backing up or having to check my phone to see who was the speaker. I put the book on hold. Now, my other book also happens to be green. This one's a middle grade book, and it's actually a lower level middle grade book. Megabat is a Fraidy Bat by Anna Humphrey. And I am 63 pages in out of 187. Not that far. So I'm about a third of the way in. And it's cute. It is also about, I stopped reading it because it is also about camp. His parents are sending him. He doesn't want to go. This is a picture of him when his kit comes in, and he thinks camp is going to have leaky roofs and mosquitoes and gray slop as food and all that. He has a pet bat. So in this, the boy, and I don't remember what his name is, I want to say Daniel. Daniel has taken the bus to camp. On the bus, he's made a friend, and where I have left off, he just arrived. And he's got a cabin that's just him, the friend, and these two brothers, the camp counselor who likes to play jokes. I will sit and read this in a little bit. I'm going to go run out and do a couple quick errands and come back, and I'm going to sit and read this for a little bit. I probably won't be able to finish it in one sitting just because I'm not great at focusing right now, but I'm enjoying it. It's cute. This is definitely a lower middle grade. I would say this is probably a 3rd grade reading level. You would think I'd be able to read it faster, but I'm still not. But I am going to sit and read it this afternoon, and then tonight I will give God of the Woods a good listen to. And that's where we are on camp stuff right now. So on camp books. And I'm having fun. And what did you think of me throwing in an adult? I actually found an adult book with summer camps. We'll sit and read this later. Oh, okay, so it took me longer than I thought, so it is now kind of late afternoon. I may not get to God of the Woods too much tonight, but I'll be able to finish it tomorrow for sure. But I am ready to sit and read. It is crazy windy out there. My allergies are just kicking up. I'm gonna go get my water. Grabbed a snack on my way. I hope my hair isn't too crazy wild. It was just so windy. So I'm going to continue on with Megabat. Gotta have my pillow and my blanket. Chapter 5, The Ghost Story. Well, I think I read another third. I have about 70 pages left to read. So, but I am going to go and change and get comfy and get dinner going and all of that. And so I will probably finish this tomorrow or the next day. Time to put in some earbuds and my book. So, God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I kind of had a hard time rating this. I binged as much as I could last night and finished the last, I think, literally 10% this morning. It is strangely addicting, even though I feel like it's a little bit dull. Nothing is really happening. There's a lot of bouncing around from one character to the next. The author did a good job of making you suspect everybody and you don't know what happened. Based on all of that, I would give it a good solid 3.8, 3.9. It is intriguing without really anything happening. I don't know how to explain it. There's a lot of bouncing around, and I don't mind that, but with the audiobook, I had to really pay attention. It helped having the book with me, so I didn't use it as much as I thought I would. However, I loved the ending. I actually really liked the ending, and so that gives it a good solid 4. So I'm going to go with 4 for The God of the Woods. I'm really glad that I read this. I did not get anywhere else on Megabat, but I'm hoping that I can get to it this afternoon. No, it's already afternoon. Later tonight, maybe tomorrow morning, probably tomorrow morning, honestly. I've got other things. As usual, I'm reading multiple books at once. So yeah, I'll probably sit and read and finish it off in the morning. That's my plan. But yeah, God of the Woods, Liz Moore, 4 stars. Easy. A good 4 stars. Hello, I wanted to give you an update. I don't remember where I left off on Megabat is a Fraidy Bat. If I already did the full review, then I will edit this out. This was super cute. It's about a boy who goes to summer camp, and he's scared because he thinks of all the stories that you hear or in books or in movies or whatever, like the leaky roof, the being bitten by bugs all over the place, and that the food will be terrible, none of which is true. And he really ends up enjoying camp, and he brings his pet bat with him. The boy is Daniel, and he makes friends, and the bat makes friends, and it's super cute. I gave it 4 stars. Now, is it 4 stars in the way some of the other books are? No, because this is a kid's book. For what it's meant to be, it is very well done. It is a great book for a younger kid who is a high reader, because it's also for maybe a reluctant reader, because it's got pictures, it's got a lot of white space, And it's a cute story. There's silliness, there's a lot of fun, there's no real scariness at all, though the ghost story was really good. I do recommend the ghost story. So for what it's supposed to be, it was spot on. It's a really cute book, and I'm really glad that I read it. Now, this is actually book 3, I think, in the series, which I didn't know. It was the only Megabat that was on the shelf at the library. I picked it because it was green, and I thought that was a nice green. I also found a picture book. It's just a book that I came across, and so I put it on hold. I did not know it was about camp. It's actually about James and Eamon. They are, it's called A Couple of Boys Have the Best Week Ever by Marla Frazee. It's James and Eamon are going to go to Eamon's grandparents' house so they can go to a nature day camp for a week. They're not real into it. They're not really into the nature stuff. They like staying home playing video games and doing other things. They like all the food that Grandma's making. They have a grand old time. Very cute. I am going to start reading some more middle grade books. My next one is Camp Monster by Kate Messner. I just read one of her books. I've heard really good stuff about it. I don't know anything what happens. I think it's going to be a book about inclusivity. I think what it is it's about, and don't quote me on this, that it's a Yeti camp that finally lets in other monsters. I was going to take you outside with me to read because it's a beautiful sunny day, but it's also very windy and I don't trust my phone to stay upright. So we will maybe sit here later today and read this. But it is a graphic novel. Oh, that's a good page to turn to. Can't wait for that. And that's it. That's my update. I'll have you join me when I read this. So Paper Planes is a young adult novel about two girls that they've been friends for years, just years and years. It's a super short graphic novel. In this, they are now teenagers and they are at a camp, because that's what we're talking about, right? But this is a camp for troubled youth. And there's only girls at this camp, and it looks like it's only one cabin's worth of girls. The way this graphic novel is set up is we get a little chunk of them, the present day, them at the camp for troubled youth. And then we went, I think it started off as 5 years in the past and then 4 years. Then it did more like 2 years and then it went 9 months, 5 months, 4 months, that sort of thing. I am probably 60 to 70% of the way through. I didn't love it at first, but I'm actually kind of really into it. I hate to call it a sapphic romance, because it's not really. It's about Leighton. This is Leighton and this is Dylan. And while Dylan definitely has romantic feelings towards Leighton, Leighton doesn't have romantic feelings towards anyone. She has a lot of peer pressure. She has a lot of parental pressures. And her whole friendship with Dylan has always been frowned upon by her parents. I'm curious as to what the incident is that put them into a camp for troubled youth. So, and we're getting closer because I think I am now 3 months ago is where I am right now. I'm about to go back to present day. So I will finish this today. Early this morning, and I started this last night. Early this morning, I finished this. Now, it has taken me weeks to read Camp Monster because I honestly just didn't care. I was not interested in what was going on, and I knew I needed to finish the book because I felt bad DNFing a middle grade graphic novel, and I knew it had good ratings. So what I did was I kind of glossed over a few pages. I think that my issue with it is that they have the kids write letters, and so there are not a lot of letters, but for a graphic novels kids usually turn to because they aren't novel readers and they don't want big sections of text. And these were kind of big sections of text for a graphic novel. And they weren't interesting. I did finish this. Like I said, I glossed through parts of it, and then this morning I sat down and I read. I actually read maybe the last 25%, and I actually did enjoy it. I thought it had a good plot twist that showed up at the end, and I thought that was kind of fun. I mean, I'm not the target audience. I recognize that. So if I were rating it for me, I would give it a 3.5. There were parts of it that I enjoyed. I thought some parts were cute and clever or whatever. There were parts that I didn't like and I thought were boring, and I didn't like the letters. I'm not the target audience, so I'm going to bump it up to a 3.75 for that reason. So Camp Monster. The other book that I'm reading, I started last night as I was walking back and forth, is Anna Jane and the Endless Summer. She is 13 and she is going to the camp that she's been going to for years. She has a friend, Amaya. I want to say it's Amaya. I'm only on page 18. Her friend Amaya comes, and they are best friends at camp. They have been coming to this camp together for years. They don't see each other during the school year. And Amaya is the only one that knows that Anna Jane is on scholarship. Her mom pays for part of it, but she does get a scholarship to go to this camp, which takes place over the whole entire summer. This, however, is a middle grade dystopian. And it says on the front, she couldn't wait for camp, now she can't leave. And I'm kind of really excited. Summer is just beginning, and so's the end of the world. But it's also a book in verse. So I am, like I said, on page 18. Nothing's happened. Basically, the kids have just started showing up, and the camp counselor is she seems to be a new camp counselor, and she seems kind of shy. And that's really all I know. I'm enjoying it. I'm hoping to get through it today. We'll see. I would like to be able to include it in the video, but I don't know that I'll be able to finish it, just warning you. But I am going to sit and finish this, and then I'm going to probably make some dinner, and then I'm going to work on this tonight. And then tomorrow I will do a complete wrap up, and hopefully I will have finished this. And that's my plan. Okay, so this is editing me trying to not look like a mugshot. I just got back from doing a library/Costco run and got into my comfy clothes. I'm finishing up my editing when I realized that I didn't actually do a final wrap up for Paper Planes. I don't have the book anymore because I returned it to the library. But I did really like it. I gave it 4 1/4, which is higher than what it is on, it's like a 3.6, I think, on Goodreads. But I liked it. I liked having a book that was a different type of camp story. It was not like I said, it didn't really want to call it a sapphic romance because it wasn't quite. Like I said, Dylan had feelings for Layton, but Layton didn't feel about them the same way. It had a really good ending. It resolved really nicely. Layton had to make some tough choices. And I'll leave it at that. I do recommend it. I thought it was really well done, but I just wanted to make sure I put that out. So I'm going to now tuck this into the editing. So I spent a good chunk of yesterday editing, and the whole time I wanted to get back to Anna Jane and the Endless Summer. It's a dystopian survival middle grade novel in verse. I could not put it down. I kept thinking about it. I mean, it's dystopian and survival, and that's right up my alley. Middle grade, that's what we're here for. I really liked it. I really, really liked it. So, like I had said before, Anna Jane is going to summer camp. It's a camp where she has gone many years, and she has a friend who is summer best friend, and really her best friend. She doesn't seem to have friends during the school year. And now this year, they are the 13s. They're the oldest kids. And with that comes some privileges, which include going into town. They get one night where they get to go into town. And they go get pizza, go to the movies. The girls always go to the drugstore to get like lip gloss and all that. And they just have fun. And it's done by cabin, so it's just her cabin that goes. Well, when her cabin goes, town does not look right. Half the stores are closed. They only see one person and he doesn't seem well. And all this other stuff, which of course we know because it is a dystopian survival story. So there are some trigger warnings for you because it does deal with a pandemic. But I absolutely just ate this up. I gave it 4.75. It's just my kind of book. It's right book, right time. So, what did you think of my little video on summer camp? I tried to really come up with different kinds of books, different kinds of ideas. I actually still have 3 books that I never got to. So maybe if you guys liked this, I will do it again next year. I had a picture book and picture books. There are so many different picture books that involve camp. Some of them are camping, but there are day camps and sleepaway camps. So if you're interested in those, there were a few young adults, but they mostly seemed like thrillers, which is fine. I would do them. If I do the video again next year, I'll do that. Plus, I had read a couple of them. I had read Flamer, which is, I believe it's a graphic novel, and it's about Boy Scout camp, and it's an MM romance. And I remember really liking that. And then there's another one that I know that I read because it says in Goodreads that I read it. I have zero memory of reading it, and it's You Have a Match. And I remember that I read it because my daughter was reading it, but I have no memory of actually what the story is or anything, though I think there's a scene that I see that must be in that book. That's the only thing that makes sense. So I've read a few young adult ones. This one, Paper Planes, was kind of my reach for trying to find something different. This was for the troubled youth. So it's not really a summer camp, but kind of is because this is in the summer and it's a camp. So we'll go with that. So young adult was a little bit hard, but I did find an adult book, which was just perfect timing because God of the Woods happened to be a new release and was going around and everybody's reading it. So that worked out really well for me. But I managed to read a few. I started off with the Megabat. I enjoyed that. I thought that was really well done for what it's meant to be. I read Camp Monster, which I struggled with a little bit, but it was cute in the end. And I mean, it's just a graphic novel and I'm not the target audience, all that stuff, right? And then I found Anna Jane and the Endless Summer. There are a ton of middle grade books that deal with summer camp. I mean, Cam Jansen, Boxcar Kids, Goosebumps. There's a couple Goosebumps that came up when I was searching. So that might be kind of fun. I don't know. I've only ever read one Goosebump book. So if I ever do this again, I'm going to write the titles down that I'm thinking about. So there we go. Summer camp in the summer. What'd you think of it? If you've read any of these, let me know. I would love to hear from you. Thank you for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.